Hello, my name is Ben with Outliers Overland, coming to you today from headquarters in Seward, Alaska, and welcome to 8 reasons why you should not buy a 4x4 off-road truck camper. I suppose this begs the question, what is a 4x4 off-road truck camper? Well, essentially, it's a recreational vehicle that can take you anywhere at any time. It's a truck capable of exploring dirt roads, hitting the beach, and handling anything that Mother Nature can throw at it. They come in many shapes, sizes, and styles, but they all have one thing in common, and those are compromises. And now it's time to plug our website, outliersoverland.com, an amazing resource for the traveler. We even have a course about buying a 4x4 expedition vehicle. And if you enjoy all the B-roll in this video, well, it's from our explorations on the North American continent. So stay tuned for our documentary where we're telling the entire story. It's called Over the Land, North America, and stay tuned for 2021. So why shouldn't you buy a 4x4 off-road truck camper? Well, let's jump into the list. Number 1. If you like going fast, or if you're in a hurry, these are not the right vehicles for you. Big tires and a high center of gravity do not work in your favor when it comes to speed and handling. But when the going gets tough, or some may call it when the going gets good, these vehicles are designed to perform. Now what these trucks do offer is a very large fuel capacity, which in turn increases your fuel range and the distance needed between fuel stops. So you may be slow, but you can drive forever. Number 2, your truck is not strong enough. This is most commonly the case when you put a very large slide-in truck camper on the traditional Ford, Chevy, or Dodge 1-ton truck frame. It's not necessarily that your truck isn't tough enough to handle it, but what it comes down to is the GVWR, which means gross vehicle weight rating. It's set by the manufacturer of your chassis, and it's essentially your maximum loaded weight. So keep in mind, it's not just the truck and the camper. It's all of your personal effects. It's the water in the tanks. It's the dogs. It's your clothes. It's your tools. It's everything. So you need to do your research and your math. Sure, you could overload your chassis and have some form of mechanical failure, but the more common concern is being above your GVWR if you have an accident and then dealing with your insurance company. Remember, insurance companies work harder to deny claims than to approve them, so don't give these guys a chance to screw you. Now, if you're dead set on using one of these traditional Ford, Chevy, or Dodge chassis, they do make them in heavier duty commercial versions. For example, Ford makes the F450 and the F550. Now for reference, our Mitsubishi Fuso has a GVWR of 14,050 pounds. When we got on a scale, fully loaded, we were at 12,500 pounds. So we still have 1,500 pounds to work with. Moving on to number 3, it has to do with fears. You can't be afraid of things. Having the ability to drive anywhere is very liberating, and you're going to find yourself in some interesting situations. If you're afraid of branches and bushes scratching the side of your truck, you should not buy an off-road truck camper. Now, just about that time you make it through the brush, you're going to find yourself on top of a mountain or on the edge of a cliff, so I hope you're not afraid of heights. Number 4, if you do not like people staring at you, then don't buy a 4x4 expedition vehicle. It does not matter. Young, old, male, or female, when they see the truck, their heads are going to be turning.
I like it!
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
In our 2 years on the road, we have seen it all. People walking into parked cars, people drifting into the lane of traffic, and countless people circling the rig taking pictures with their phone. Now when you're driving, you get a lot of thumbs up at stoplights, and there's a lot of rubbernecking when vehicles are zooming past you on the interstate. And when you think about it, you cannot really blame them. because a 4x4 expedition vehicle really pulls at one's heartstrings and spirit for adventure. This brings us to number 5. If you are a rude prick, do not buy an off-road truck camper. It could be at a fuel pump or in a campsite, but all those people looking at the truck, quite a few of them are going to come up and talk to you. You're going to have to be somewhat social. Just keep in mind, they are fascinated about the rig and maybe even your travels. So no matter what kind of day you're having, when somebody comes up to you, put on your game face and smile. Number 6, if you like formalized campgrounds and playing that reservation system game, you should not buy an off-road truck camper. That would put you in possession of a vehicle capable of going deeper into the wilderness and farther away from people than everybody else, which is of increasing importance as overlanding, RVing, and camping gain popularity. Number 7, if you cannot live tiny, you should not buy a 4x4 off-road truck camper. The reality is, these things are small enough to begin with, so on those inevitable rained-in weather days, you need to be able to exist in a tiny space. And why is your camper tiny? Well, the longer you are, that decreases your ability to maneuver on and off road. So keep in mind, these trucks are built to camp in hard to reach places, which means having a smaller footprint. And lastly, number 8, if you do not enjoy spending money on tires, you should not buy a 4x4 off-road truck camper. Keep in mind, these trucks are almost always fully loaded and out traveling, which means a lot of times you're going to be pushing that GVWR number, and all that weight from the truck and camper transfers to the road through the tires. Our truck and most of our acquaintances' trucks chew up the rear tires. Rotation helps, but in our case, they get chewed up so fast, we just replace them and do not rotate. And we do that because our tires are cheap at about $240 each. But that's a different story when you get up to the Unimogs or the LMTV military vehicles. Some of those tires can go upwards of $2,000 per tire. Well, that is a wrap. 8 reasons why you should not buy a 4x4 off-road truck camper. If you found this video interesting or you had some really good takeaways from it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can also visit our channel, Outliers Overland, and start exploring North America from there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.